All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. Now the State of the Nation discussion starts right now. It's all matters, politics, and everything in between. They would like to hear your views on every single subtopic that we'll talk about at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. My guests are with me, Honorable Mark Nyamita, Member of Parliament for Uriri. Thank you for making time. Honorable Joe Nyutu, Senator for Murang'a. Thank you for making time. And Dr. Kuro Court, Party Leader, Third Way Alliance. Asante sana for making time. Let's start off with the Daily Nation, front page of the Daily Nation. Raila puppet or ODM rebel? That's what they say. ODM Secretary-General Sifunna has constantly dismissed his party's association with the government, contradicting his boss, Raila Odinga. Now he has declared the ODM UDA deal dead, days after Mr. Odinga affirmed it. Is he a rogue official or the mouthpiece of his party leader? Mark, I'll start with you on
that. Thank you, Trevor, for hosting us this morning. And I think that I've read the newspaper today. I actually also had the opportunity to watch my Secretary-General, Edwin Sifunna, speak. I have said on this show that every other time you see a politician speak, they speak to the audience. And that audience might not be you. So first of all, Sifunna in that show said he's going to defend his seat in Nairobi. You need to ask yourself, for Sifunna to get his seat, who is his audience? And therefore then you would understand from where he also is coming from. So his audience of Nairobi and the demographics around here, he has to appeal to it. At the same time, Sifunna then portrays himself as someone who does not have conscience. Because if you didn't believe in the MOU in the first place, you're the Secretary General, why sign it? If you don't believe in the association, simply bolt out. It's simple. I heard the party leader also speak about last week, and he said very well that this association, if we have to find a way, because the only way to remove the president, if he were to be removed, is only through the ballot, and that is in 2027. We must have a country until that particular point. And if we are to remove him, we have to remove him for a valid reason. That valid reason, Sifunna did not give it on that day. He actually said that, removing Ruto is a national agenda.
National priority.
He said removing Ruto is a national priority that that is higher than dueling Nairobi, Busia, Malava, Busia border. The road, and I don't blame him. Sifunna is a senator for Nairobi, where all the roads are available. He can only complain about potholes. Sifunna is a senator for Nairobi, where there is water. He can only complain about water points, but there is water. For some of us who have lived in the countryside, and that's why maybe Sifunna found it very difficult to survive in the politics of the village. Because there, when we talk about roads, there are no roads in the first place, even to have potholes. So potholes is a new word. Watering points is not even anything to talk about because there's no water to start with. So if we see a government that is attempting to do some of those things, I can tell you the things that that government is doing will become priority for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll look into what you're saying just a bit. But Ekuru, is he a rogue official or the mouthpiece of his party?
What shocks me about Kenya's politics today is the fact that we are not honest. And that honesty, in my view, is about which direction do we want to take the country to. So Sifunna, and now listening to Honorable Nyamita here, just confirms the old political conmanship that we've had in this country for the longest. And the politics of Kenya is been so commercialized that people will play games, in order to survive politically, So it does not surprise me that a Secretary General of a party that has claimed for the longest time to be the opposition is speaking differently from what his party leadership is saying. And what Nyamita says. So Nyamita is blaming Sifunna that Sifunna is only speaking to the optics of Nairobi. It's not entirely true. I disagree. I disagree. I think Sifuna is speaking the truth of what is happening on the ground. That this government that his party, ODM, is associating with is so unpopular, very unpopular, because of the lies they have been telling Kenyans over the years. And I think to some extent, I wouldn't call Sifuna a puppet, but I think he's speaking to the conscience of the nation. What is the nation thinking today? You know, and the nation is saying this government is so unpopular. And I think if Sifuna were to be crucified, it cannot be because of what he is saying to Kenyans today. Yeah. Because he's speaking to the conscience of the Kenyan people, that Ruto-led government, which Honorable Nyamita is associating with, yeah, is very unpopular.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm sure my senator from Nyeri will say, Moranga will say one term, but I want to believe that one term is such a long term.
We'll come to the one-term conversation. But let me hear what Yutu has to say about this. Yutu, can you hear a party speaking from both sides of the mouth? Is he a rogue official? Is he the mouthpiece of the party? What do you make of what Sifuna's statements were?
Thank you, Trevor. And I think that Honorable Nyamita has put it very well, that when a politician speaks, they speak for a particular audience. Actually, Honorable Nyamita is speaking to the government, not to Kenyans. And I'll tell you why. One, SG Sifuna, no less a person than Baba, has said, I don't know whether it was during the burial of the late Honorable, the member for Kasipol, Ongondo Were, he said that when Sifuna speaks, he speaks for the party. The only thing he asked him is, Sifuna wakati mwingine wacha kuchungu sana. But he confirmed that Sifuna speaks for the party. My very good friend, Honorable Nyamita, does not speak for the party. And that is a difference. So when Sifuna speaks, I listen. I would listen more to what Sifuna says than what, for example, my friend Honorable Nyamita will say, because Honorable Nyamita is not the spokesperson of the party ODM. Honorable Sifuna has given his reasons why he thinks that ODM should not continue supporting this government. And I listened to that conversation that Honorable Sifuna had here on Citizen. And he said that why they entered into this arrangement in the first place was because there was a general consensus between ODM and government that there was need to sustain life and the need to sustain the democratic state. And Honorable Sifuna said very well that the only person, the only thing that is happening out of the two is sustaining the democratic space. But there is no sustenance of life, because of the killings that continue to happen against the 10-point agenda that they had when they entered here. So I don't know why Honorable Nyamita then would say that Secretary-General Sifuna is only saying this because he's speaking to his audience in Nairobi and because he wants to retain his seat as Senator for Nairobi. I mean, he gave a reason. Youths continue being abducted and killed against what they had agreed. And that is why Sifuna said this deal is dead. He gave reasons. He did not just speak to the audience. You know, Honorable Nyamita also is misleading Kenyans by saying that President Ruto, or any other president for that matter, can only be removed through the vote in 2027. It is not true. He can be removed through an impeachment. And that is why President Ruto clings onto ODM, because he fears an impeachment. So when Honorable Nyamita tells you that, you know, Sifuna is speaking this way because he has roads, he has water in Nairobi, and but some of us, you know, don't have roads in our constituencies and water, I want to tell Honorable Nyamita, because it is the truth, The only reason they are being given some water, some roads by President Ruto, it is not because President Ruto wants to develop Nyanza. This is a bribe, so that ODM does not join the rest of dissatisfied members and impeach the president. And I can assure Honorable Nyamita here that if they support President Ruto in 2027, and in the unlikely event President Ruto wins, the water Honorable Nyamita is talking about, the water projects, the roads that he's talking about will dry up, in quotes, immediately. Because President Ruto will not need to bribe them anymore. So it is actually bribery. It is not a development that President Ruto is taking to Nyanza. It's bribery in order for him to continue being sustained as president. Because without ODM support, we would impeach President Ruto very fast. So, allow me to just finish this.
Yeah.
And Dr. Ekuru Aukot mentioned it, that when you see Nyanza leaders, and I don't want to speak for Nyanza because I'm not elected there, but we interact with people here in Nairobi and elsewhere. It is Nyanza leaders that are supporting President Ruto, not the Nyanza electorate, unless the ones I interact with are wrong. And why are leaders supporting President Ruto? Because they benefit at a personal level, not because of the people. And this is the truth.
Please. No, just let's just have some.
Senators raise a very important.
No, it's okay. Let me just start with this last point.
Defend yourself.
Let's start from the last point. You cannot say that you now purportedly listen to the people of Nyanza than their leaders, because otherwise then, if the people disagreed with their leaders, it would be in the public domain. Our people agree with us. But let me speak to one of the things that you've spoken to, that what the president is bribing the people of Nyanza. I want to tell you, Senator John Yutu, that if the increased access to SHA, whereby our people now are getting more treatment, is a bribe, if the payment of debts for sugar in where I come from is a bribe, if the building of infrastructure, roads that are being done in my county, and the water that is actually being made available, including electricity to our people, is a bribe, I want to tell you that the people of Nyanza are happy to be bribed. If the pricing of fertilizer that is lower is actually a bribe, I actually want to tell you, we are happy to be bribed. In fact, if that is the only thing that is going to enable us to support the president, because the gentleman speaking here, when we talk about roads, in Muranga they have roads. They've been bribed from independence then, if that's not the case. If when the government is doing a particular thing in a region, it is called bribery, then these guys only want to be the only people to be bribed. And I want to tell you, we are happy to receive the bribe in form of roads. We are happy to receive the bribe in form of hospitals. We are happy to receive the bribe in terms of opportunity for our people to be in mainstream government, if that is what you call a bribe from the government. And we're happy to do that. And you have no authority to speak on behalf of the people that you do not represent. I am speaking here and we are speaking on the people from Nyanza. Number two, I don't speak for the party because I don't hold a party. I'm just a member of the party. I don't speak on behalf of my party, ODM. That is very factual.
You can.
No. I mean, the party spokesperson. Yeah. The party position can only be done by the party leader.
But you can also speak as a member of that party.
No, hold on. Yeah, and I am going to speak, and I am speaking as a member of the party.
Yeah.
So just give me time. So I'm saying, on behalf of the party, and Sifunna himself said, I listened to his interview. There is what is the party position, and the party position is what is signed for. It is a MOU. It is a broad-based government. That is the party position. That's what is signed for. If Sifunna's position was a party, to say that the party, then we would have essentially actually walked out of this thing. Now, when you speak about, and I agree, that to have a government and sustenance of life, I want to also condemn abductions and killings. Because no one, regardless of who dies, we completely condemn the abductions and killings. But I want to tell you, we need to sit as a country and think about how do we stop this. It is not by removing President Ruto, because killings did not come with President Ruto. When Kibaki was in power,
He's in power, but
just hold on. Just hold on. You'll have your bite. I am saying we do not support, and we need to sit as a country. In fact, I want to say the police, the real independence of the police, the boldest government that has given a bit of independence to the police is this government. Because what is independence? Independence is, being given the power to decide. Because the only other lever that the government has used for a long time is budget. That sits with the police. We have increased budget to the police. Me and Senator Nyutu here, who sit in the National Assembly, have the power to call the police to order, including sanctioning the police and even firing the Inspector General of the police when he fails to do particular things. But I want to say this. We have not arrived in Kenya today to not start saying, oh, now, these killings have begun today and things like that. They must stop. That I agree. When Kibaki was in power, over 1,000 people died post-election. People died in Kisumu. They were shot. People died across the nation. Over 1,000 people. In fact, it led to particular leaders, including the sitting president, who went to ICC because people died during that particular time. During Uhuru Kenyatta's time, people died in the two elections. In the two elections, in 2013 and in 2017. People died during that particular time. They are not any, the people who died during that time are not any less than the people who are dying now. We are saying we shouldn't continue having more people dying. But our friends should not come when we have the power, me and my good friend here, to call the police to order. To call the police to order. The president himself, there is also the fault of the judiciary. The president is not the president of the judiciary. He's the head of the judiciary. In fact, if you listen to Sifuna the other day when he was speaking, he said that when the courts were finally burnt, he's the one who actually said this is an act of terrorism. The Chief Justice of this nation, no one is talking about it. No one is talking about it. So in fact, it's the judiciary. Can I weigh in? No. In fact, if it's a judiciary, Sifuna actually mentioned it, and I agree with him. It is the head of the judiciary that was almost encouraging the police to charge with this act on terrorism. And I am saying we should stop abductions. Killings must stop. Police must do the right thing that they need to do. We have all a responsibility as Kenyans to call the police to order. Okay. Removing Ruto will not stop the killings. Okay. Because Ruto has not held a gun to kill anyone.
Okay. We'll come to
Trevor, listening to my good friend here, Munyamita, for me, I see it as a betrayal of the people of Uriri. Because the reason they sent him to parliament is to represent, to legislate, and to oversight government of the day. Not to try and justify that this government is not Kibaki's government or Uhuru Kenyatta's or Moi or whatever. That's a very lame excuse. In fact, when I listen to ODM members, I tend to believe Honorable Sifuna is probably the only honest politician in that political party. Because, like I said, he speaks to the conscience of the people of Kenya. Now, what I think Honorable Nyamita is not admitting is the fact that for the longest time, ODM, say under the leadership of, say, Jacom, Raila, has represented a certain perspective about Kenya. Change, democracy, constitutionalism, protection of human rights, as he rightfully puts it. But today, you are actually associating yourself with a government that's actually killing, abducting, and it's not. It's no excuse for him to say, "Oh, Ruto is not the only government that started the killing." So what? You are the government of the day. These killings must stop, and if these killings, kidnappings are happening now, it is the government of the day we must call out.
Correct.
Yeah,
I agree.
And therefore to say, "Oh, it did not start with William Ruto," it's a very lame excuse, and for me, it's a betrayal of the people who sent you to parliament to represent them. And so for me, what I'm seeing happening, and that's why Sifuna is not a puppet, But I think Sifuna is speaking to the political history of opposition, yeah, that says we must do certain things rightly. But unfortunately, he's not getting support from his own political party, including Honorable Nyamita here.
Okay.
And I think, no, you're not supporting him because you're not supporting him, Honorable Nyamita, because you are trying to justify why William Ruto must still be president of this country.
We haven't gotten there.
Okay. No, you are. By your actions, you are doing it as a party. Yeah? And for me...
And I have my reasons.
And what shocks me, Trevor, is that if you look at the politics of, say, Luo Nyanza, historically, right from, say, Jaramogi, Oginga Odinga up to now, it has always been about getting Kenya to a certain place. But today's political leadership in Luo Nyanza, including Honorable Nyamita here, actually betraying that history. And for me, it saddens me because you've had the support of the rest of Kenyans that we must get a certain change. Senator Nyutu is speaking also to the conscience of the nation, especially about how the Mulima people, supported this presidency today and this government. But that betrayal, the betrayal is what is annoying the people of Mount Kenya region. And it's unfortunate that the people who, for the longest time, have put themselves as the leadership of a certain type of regime that we want, are today sucking up to actually this failing leadership. And that's why it's so difficult for example, Honorable Nyamita here to defend government. It's not possible because how do you defend a government that's, for example, is even raining on his own payslip? How do you defend a government that cannot justify, for example, how we change from NHIF to this SHA? I can see, my nomad brother, Duale, trying to justify SHA. How do you defend that? You promised jobs. There are no jobs. You promised you will not increase taxes. And Honorable Nyamita here, in my view, should be bringing a motion in Parliament to impeach President William Ruto. William Ruto is saying, how do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Yeah? In the Constitution, we have options. You can resign, but you can also be impeached. But you have got lazy parliamentarians here who are actually failing their own constituents. Because the people are saying, this government has failed us.
Okay.
The people's representatives are not doing what they ought to do, which is to invoke, for example, the constitutional provision that says, let's impeach a failing government. Honorable Nyamita is sleeping on his job. I know Joe Nyutu will not bring a motion because it must originate from the National Assembly. Ideally, it should be Honorable Nyamita here. We should be initiating a motion of impeachment.
I have no reason to. I have absolutely no reason.
What do you have to say about this? You're talking about bribing the Nyanza region.
Yes.
How does development for a particular region equals?
No, but before Senator comes into that, let's deconstruct one thing. This thing of bribery, it's not a president giving gifts to Kenyans. I would like to ask Honorable Nyamita to read Article 43 of the Constitution of Kenya on economic rights. It's not the president that he gift back, that he's going to give the people of Nyanza.
It's not a favor.
Or,
that you should tell Nyutu, because it's Nyutu who said it.
Let's hear what you has to say about
but you are saying that you accept to be it's not a bribery.
No, I'm saying it's not bribery, it's a development.
It's your right.
Hold on one second. Let's hear what you have to say about this. How does development equate bribery?
Now, what I was trying to say, and that was in response to Honorable Nyamita's assertion that Sifuna talked the way he did because he does not understand the problems of people without roads. The problem, because he represents Nairobi, where according to Honorable Nyamita, there are roads and there is water.
Is it true or not?
No, I'm just, it's my time. So it was in response to that, and I told him, if it was not happening before you entered into this particular arrangement. It is now happening because, and you know, remember I pointed out that Honorable Nyamita had misled Kenyans by saying that we can only remove President Ruto or any other president through the vote. And I reminded him that there is that particular opening, the impeachment. And so I was telling him, if this development in Kuts is coming to Nyanza region, because again we must ask ourselves, is it happening in every other region the way it is happening in Nyanza? So that's why I said it is it's a bribe in order for President Ruto to continue not to be impeached. Because I can tell you, if ODM joined the rest of Kenyans, the rest of the other parties, I'm telling you, President Ruto would be impeached every day. I mean, any day, any time. And so that's why I said it's a bribe. And Honorable Nyamita actually got very emotional about this.
No.
But I want to tell him, you know, he said that they are ready to receive bribes if development in Nyanza, development in Kuts, you'll get your time, Honorable Nyamita, please.
Yeah.
And one thing, Trevor, you should remind everybody, anybody and everybody who comes to this show with me, is to note how I keep quiet. By the way, even if you mention my name, until I get my time.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Yeah. So Nyamita, please, you will get your time.
True.
Yes, that is what we call, that is what I think is a better debate.
Proceed.
So, and you know, it interrupts somebody's line of thinking.
Yeah.
I think Honorable Nyamita should tell us when he comes back whether we should be ready and willing to be bribed, in his words, because he said they are happy to receive the bribes, if that is the bribes. Are we ready to receive this development at the expense of lives of innocent people? That if, regardless of what this government does, regardless of how grossly they violate human rights, that as long as development is coming to our region, we are not going to question this government. Because I think that is a major issue that Honorable Sifunna raised here, that he does not care, and Honorable Nyamita mentioned it, that Sifunna said he doesn't care even about the dwelling of which roads. He said, as long as you are killing people, as long as you continue violating people's rights, I would better not receive those tokens of, I don't know, water, electricity, but allow people to enjoy their right to life. So Nyamita should then now tell us, should we keep quiet because development is coming even when our people are being killed? I think that is a question that I would have wanted him to answer. This issue of saying, and I don't want to delve into it too much because Dr. Okot has raised it. This issue of saying that killings also happened during Kebaki's time, killings also happened during Uhuru's time. So is Nyamita trying to tell us that two wrongs make a right? Is Nyamita trying to tell us? Because I've heard the same argument coming from President Ruto. Why are you asking me of these things while you didn't ask Kibaki of these things? And I have addressed that issue here, Trevor, and said that Kibaki ruled at a different time. The challenges then were different from the challenges we have today. The way we would solve, solutions were brought that time. The solutions that were workable that time may not work this time. We must also look at the level at which we are violating human rights. Because the basic thing is about democracy and the democratic space and human rights. Trevor, if you visit my house and I feed you with the most delicious meal, and then, I slap you and insult you, you would rather, I respect your dignity and not give you anything at all. And that is the argument here, that President Ruto cannot be allowed to continue violating people's human rights just because he's giving some of these tokens. Okay. So the other thing is about this terrorism. This terrorism thing, these terrorism charges, it's something we must talk about. Okay. We need legal minds like Dr. Kuro Okot and others to tell us and explain to us what is the difference between arson and terrorism. Because you cannot tell us that when you torch somebody's building, that is terrorism. In Nyanza the other day, not too long ago, I think in Isiaya, there is a family where they had a large dispute with somebody, I think a relative, who locked them from outside and torched the building. All the family members, you know, died in that inferno. That particular criminal was not charged under terrorism.
Okay.
But maybe arson and murder, whatever you may want to call it. So I think we need a legal interpretation. And just finally to remind Nyamita that yes, I do not represent Nyanza, and I had actually said it that I may not have any right to speak about Nyanza. But so this is the age. This is the age of technology.
I'm sure you have a right.
You will know what is happening in Mount Kenya, even without going there physically, even without going to listen to people physically, through social media.
Okay.
For example, Nyamita knows. Nyamita knows that Mount Kenya departed from William Ruto a long time ago, not because he represents Mount Kenya. So these things, I don't have to represent.
Senator, you are a national leader.
Yes. Let's take a quick break.
Trevor, let's correct him, Senator. Let's correct Senator.
Hold on.
He is a national leader, and he sits in that Senate. So he must represent Kenya.
Okay, agree.
Even though he is elected from Murang'a.
Thank you. Thank you. That's good information.
Yeah.